Hi, how you doing today? My name is Judy23. So this is a weird video in 2020, right? I just did a talking video last week. Why am I doing another one this week? As it so happens, a bunch of factors came together. So remember last week when I was saying that almost every music video had a little blurb underneath? Well, if you were to go and check all the music videos I did so far, all the ones in the Mother Superior playlist don't have a blurb attached to them. And that's because I wanted all of those descriptions to tell the story of the Mother Superior album. I didn't want to talk about the songs themselves. I wanted to help tell the story I wanted to tell. But see, then I thought I was going to be smart by instead of writing them in the description, I'll make a brand new video talking about all those different blurbs. And then the video didn't render. So, oops. But see, this week, I managed to finally render some of it. Not all of it, but enough. So that's what I want to do this week. I want to talk about the first 6 songs of the Mother Superior album. Enjoy. The Mother Superior itself is one of my favorite songs of all time. I love the sense of loathing dripping throughout this song. I perceive it at times as a self-loathing, but perhaps this is more about me. Stuff that probably should get looked at. It's this idea, I think, of hell is when you are alone. And there is someone mercilessly taunting you and telling you how much of a failure you are. And, oh, there's a way out. It just means hurting yourself. Now, for the story I'm creating, Mother Superior is supposed to be the work of the outside observer. This is someone else talking to our protagonist, telling them to shape up. And for this kind of introduction to hell, I really wanted to have the writing be some sort of a writ. Like the devil is writing out your sentence kind of thing. Like quill with probably blood. Here is the damnation of this person. And I really wanted to have this shot of fire, like a furnace fire. So the picture itself is very silhouetted, like all the trees are all blacked out. The cloud above is very dominating and gray, and this little slip of fire from the sun. But in many ways it's kind of like, here's your hope as we snuff it out. You can try to grab some of that light, but you will fail because we have condemned you. Something I do want to say now that I do want to pick up later is this idea that hell incorporates trees. And I'll get to that why later. Ignorance is really designed to be the anti-Mother Superior. The song Ignorance itself, I like it. It's not as much as I love Mother Superior, because Mother Superior is one of my favorite songs of all time. But I really think for this album, it really does provide a nice contrast. Because Mother Superior is telling someone to be condemned, and I really wanted that person who was condemned to be defiant to the position that they're in. Like, I don't care about you. I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't need you. That very kind of childish reaction to being condemned, I guess, in some ways. Or being, you know, hey man, you gotta do something for your own good. I don't need you, I don't need anybody. Like that kind of childish, punkish, you know, explository response. I wanted that to extend to the font as well. Instead of having this more regal handwriting, it's instead this very childlike, sans serif, brutal, punk kind of feel to it. Like I don't have time for your serif. Nah man, I just gotta be punchy. I gotta get my words out. I gotta tell you how much I freaking hate you. Well, Mother Superior has this shot of trees and someone looking out into the distance. Ignorance is the exact opposite. It's a human experience looking down with a lot of light. Now, could have used probably a better picture to do that? Possibly. This was the best one I had. But I still think in some ways it works. I just wish it was more interesting. You know, like there was more texture to the image as opposed to just a sidewalk. You know, it's like, oh, that's cool, I guess? Huh? So this is actually one of my favorite songs and one of my favorite videos, and no one could watch it because it wasn't released in the US because of rights holders and whatever. And it really sucks because I really liked what I did with it. I really like songs that are really emotional and have that explosiveness in them, and that's really what a lot of this song is. It's so heavy with periods of moroseness and periods of explosive anger, and I really think it really ties into this point in the album with this person, you know, kind of realizing that, you know, maybe there is a purpose for me being in here. I'm not angry with you now, maybe with somebody else. And that, like that transition between, okay, who are you actually angry at now? I love this photo because now the hell's changed. The hell is no longer being outside. The hell is longing to be outside. Condemned into one room where you can stare out the window and still see the flaming sun, still are tempted, but you can't access it. I really think that works for both this song and this part of the album. I really love the font too. See, now you have time to reflect. Now you have time to think about what you're saying. You're not just reacting and being a punk. It's this transition, right, between being angry just because I want to be defiant to I'm angry because I have anger. Like I have these other emotions. I feel bad for being in this position, as opposed to just being angry because you're telling me off. You've cooled off enough now to add the serif, but the Y is still the little ball at the end of the Y. The exclamation mark is still kind of bouncy in a certain way. It's not too harsh, but it is more mature in a sense than Ignorance's font. What's really cool is because it's also a very thin font, you can add a whole bunch more words at one time, which I think kind of works for the song, because I think at this point it's kind of a rambling part. You're just angry, right? That's what the song represents. You're just angry at everything up to and possibly even including yourself a little bit. And you're just getting all the words out. You don't really care how it's being said. I just gotta talk, and I hate that kind of idea. And I really think the font works for that. And again, it's a shame that no one actually saw this. But can't stop me from loving it. So, oh well. So as I was making this album, there was a really big tug of war in my head between how do I make these songs all stand on their own versus how do I make them fit inside the Mother Superior concept. Sometimes I focused more on the song itself, sometimes I focused on how to make it fit. I kind of went back and forth on that, and I think at times it really does the song some detriment. And I think the song is a perfect example of that because I really don't like what I did with Wake Up. Because it's 3 Days Grace, because I really love this song, I wanted to make it stand on its own, and I just don't think it turned out that great anymore. Like the shot of this plant, I've had this photo for a really long time, and I really loved it, and I really thought it really did work with Wake Up. Couldn't help but kind of merge the two together, this gray and this red, and a little bit of the black too, and like the darker aspects of it in the rain. It really looks like it would fit for a mid-2000s emo song, but there's something off about this photo. I don't know what. Something on my end for sure. Like I must have screwed up something, and it's a shame because I really think that this photo can work in some places. I just don't think I made it do well here. And this font, I don't even know. Like the letters are too big. The serif aspect of it, I guess in some ways might be a continuation of the family disease, but I don't know. I don't think it really worked. I just don't think it works. I don't know how it would make this better. Yeah, I just think this just flat out needs a redone. I don't think I'm ever going to, but I just feel like I made a mistake, and you can't bat 1,000. It just sucks. I wish I had something more positive to say. I really do. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer over here. I just think that I could have done better, but c'est la vie. If you enjoyed this song and you really enjoyed what I did with it, all the power to you. I'm sorry for being a critic of my own work, but if it resonates with you, that's awesome. It just doesn't resonate with me anymore. So Yesterday to Tomorrow used to be one of my favorite love songs. I guess this was a love song for that period of time in my life. And now there's other songs I think work better. It's good, I just like others. As I said for Wake Up by 3 Days Grace, this is another one of the songs where the dichotomy between, what should I do for the song itself versus for the story as a whole really comes into play. I think in hindsight, I really should have made it a cursive font because that's what I was using for a lot of the flashback songs. But I still think for itself, it really is a very nice, subtle yet elegant font, with the serifs, but it's also kind of tiny. It's not like in Wake Up by 3 Days Grace where it's very present and it's in front and kind of getting in your face. No, it's more kind of calm and chiller. And it's just kind of weaving a lovely story. In the background kind of shows this very colorful sunset. I think it was really kind of taken in by the strikiness of this image though. Like, this really is a sunset. It really is a connection between yesterday and tomorrow. Even though the song itself is very woodsy, it does kind of create a nice contrast to it. But I think, especially for where I am in this album, what I really want to represent, I really think it probably should have been, in hindsight, a little bit more chill. But on its own, I still think it still works. I'm not as upset with this one as I am with Wake Up, because it still is a sunset and the font still is subdued, which I really think works. Enough about these videos that I don't think really work anymore. I actually am really proud of this video, how it turned out. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that one. I really think it turned out really good. Wake Up by Coheed isn't necessarily one of my favorite songs. It's really good. But I think the best part of it is other people's reactions to it. I remember one time I sang it as part of a karaoke session on a stream, and people were like, "Oh my god, this song is so beautiful." I'm like, it's okay. I think you like it more than I do, but I will take your compliments. I love how I did this. I love how this all turned out. I really love the soft pink, you know, the moon in the background, the silhouette. I really think how cool it is, you know, this song that remembers the past with a little bit of a dark tinge to it. Both elements of both mankind and nature are both kind of present in the, you know, silhouetted trees and that silhouetted wire going between them. The realization of why this person's in there started creeping through. Especially because, see, I don't see Wake Up by Coheed as a love song in a way, because, see, the first verse goes, "In the phrase to cut these lips, I love you." And then later on it goes, "In the phrase to cut these lips, I loved you. I will be coming back in the beginning and I won't be coming back afterwards." The font choice, I mean, it's a light and fluffy song. So I really wanted a light and fluffy font. This idea of cursive being like a handwritten style, you know, the idea of this pen being used to actually like physically writing something down as you physically go back and remember. I really love that kind of bouncy script I used, and how they come in and out. I think it's a really nice touch. I think it really helps set that bouncy mood with how all the words just kind of come in and out and kind of bounce away and come in and out. Yeah, I don't know. I really love what I did here. I think it did good. I think it did good on this one.